Pat. I'm VP of Product Management at Twilio and been with the company for the last 5.5 years. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about how many of our customers are changing communication experiences. So for many of you, you may be asking, what is a Twilio? Well, Twilio, for many of you, you may not know who we are and what we do, but you've probably used Twilio. In fact, you may have even used Twilio today. You use Twilio when you use any of our customers. If you've ever used Airtasker and needed to connect with a freelancer and made a call to them, that's Twilio. If you've called your Uber driver or sent them a text message, that's Twilio. If you've connected with a host on Airbnb, that's Twilio. So you use Twilio every time you use our customers' applications. And our customers are integrating communication experiences into those services. And it's not just those brands. It's many, many, many more. So there's over 30,000 customers that have built communication experiences on top of Twilio's platform. So really what Twilio is a cloud communications platform. And we've created this category. It's not an app. It's a series of APIs that allow anybody to integrate communications into their application experience. We do this across voice, messaging, video, and authentication. And Twilio is really part of a new era of software-based services. See, the world's evolved over the years from sort of the era of legacy, on-prem, large monolithic applications. These were typically, multi-million-dollar applications sold to a CIO that was stuck around for a decade. And then along came SaaS. Things like Salesforce, Workday, right? These sort of evolved from that high-stakes IT era of the CIO sale to now being able to sell to a line of business. And there's a new phenomenon that's coming on in this new era of software is that of cloud platforms. It's things like AWS. It's things like AWS, Twilio, Stripe. These are cloud platforms that are usage-based, right? They're targeted at developers. They're pennies to get started, and they allow you to integrate new capabilities into your applications and services without a multi-million-dollar sale. So what do all of our customers have in common? Well, they're rethinking how we communicate. So these companies are not standalone communication experiences, but they've integrated communications as part of their application or service. And these companies have realized that customer experience is the best competitive differentiator in building your product. So why do we need integrated communication experiences? As consumers, communications is so often broken that we don't even realize it. So I had an example just this week where I was staying at a hotel. I went to check in. I was a little early, and I left my bags with the hotel. And this is the type of experience that folks have all the time. Finally got my card, got up to the room. I expected to see my bags there. The bags didn't arrive. So we get on the phone and go call the front desk. And as soon as I call, what happens? They ask me, what's your name? What room number are you in? And this is their hotel. They should know exactly what room I'm in. They should know exactly who I am. And frankly, they should know that I had left my bag with them earlier. They should route me directly to the bellhop desk. And they can tell me exactly what the status is of that bag. So these are the type of communication experiences today that are really still broken. And that's because our communication systems look like this. They're physical hardware. They're inflexible. And this is stuff that was deployed, over a decade ago. The thought of having a phone in the bathroom doesn't even make any sense anymore. And they're not software powered. So when I need to get in touch with my Uber driver, it's much, much more seamless. And that's because it's powered by software, and it's focused on delivering a great user experience. Consider, for example, your favorite airline. You're logged into a mobile app that looks something like this. And the app has context. It knows what flights you're traveling on. It allows you to drill into specific details. Many of us have used applications like this. But as soon as you want to make a change to your flight, you go here, you press that Talk to the Agent button, and what happens? We get thrown out of the app that knows who we are, where we're logged in, where we're traveling to, and we're sent into a regular phone call, right? And we get connected usually with some IVR somewhere. right? All the context of that application experience is completely lost as soon as we leave that app, right? And so then we're fumbling around, we're navigating through a complex IVR. The IVR will ask us for our frequent flyer mile number, and then finally we get to talk to a human, and what do? They ask us, what's your frequent flyer number? Can you verify your identity? And I started from an experience in an app where I was logged in. They knew exactly who I was. They knew exactly what flight I was having a problem with. And you go through 15 minutes of torture just to complete the task that you originally started out with. So these are the type of broken communication experiences that we have every single day, right? And then when you finally actually are talking to someone, you're finally able to communicate with a person, you'll end up in a situation where they'll say, well, hey, we're too busy, or let me check on this, and they put you on hold, right? Imagine if we treated people the same way businesses treat us when we communicate with them. Imagine talking to your mom, sorry, Mom, really busy right now. How about you wait on hold for about 20 minutes or so, and then I'll get back to you, right? Like, we would never do this when we communicate with humans, right? But businesses, we do this when businesses communicate with their customers every single day. So really what we're seeing, and the thing that we're seeing from our customers is really trying to change the way they interact with their customers. Make communication smarter, make it more powerful. So businesses need to communicate like people do, right? What's crazy is that, these bad experiences we have with businesses, we're paying them for these bad experiences. We have better experiences when we talk to other people, and that's for free. My friends aren't paying me to have a chat with me. So any modern business needs to communicate with their customers like they're people. So today I'd like to actually propose a few different principles for how we can get better at communicating with our customers like people. So the first one here is using their channel, right? When I interact with other people, I can interact with them over many, many different channels, right? There's a right time to call me. There's a right time to send me a text message. There's a right time to get on FaceTime and see my nephew, right? So as we communicate with other people, we choose different channels for different types of problems that we're trying to solve. We even choose different channels when we are talking to different people. For example, my brother, it's always text messaging. For my mom, it's always a phone call. If I text her, she'll never reply. And so we as humans choose different channels to communicate with different people and to communicate around different types of problems, right? And businesses need to do the exact same thing. You need to be able to communicate with your customers over the channel that they prefer, not the channel that the business prefers. And if it's voice, fantastic. If it's messaging, great. You ought to be able to build those experiences into your applications or services. So the second principle I want to talk about is using context, right? So when we communicate with other people, we use context. We have a caller ID, we know who's calling, we know if it's a holiday, we know if it's late at night, we know when someone is interrupting someone. And then as soon as we pick up the phone, we know by the tone of their voice if they're upset, if something's urgent, if there's a problem, right? Humans use context every day when we communicate with one another. And most importantly, we don't ask other humans for unnecessary information. We don't ask them 3 times for their frequent flyer mile number. We only ask them for the information that makes sense at the right time. Businesses need to do the same thing. With the power of software, we can now build these type of communication experiences. And then the final one I want to talk about is using human speak, right? When we talk to one another, we talk in human language, right? We don't talk in corporate speak. When the news is bad, we apologize for it. If a package has been delayed or something's out of stock, talk to people in a straightforward manner, right? One of the common failures you see is businesses exposing their error codes to customers, right? Due to a TPS 70, the request cannot be processed, right? Talk to folks like humans talk to folks. Tell them there's no rooms available if that's what that error message means. And so often businesses fail to communicate with humans the way humans communicate. So use human speak. And then one other last one here. For the love of God, hold the hold. if you find yourself putting your customers on hold, you are doing it wrong, right? Treating your customers with respect really means respecting the most important thing that they have, and that's their time. New modalities like messaging are ideal for doing asynchronous communication. There's no need for hold. Hold is asynchronous communication over a synchronous channel, right? So when you find yourself in scenarios where that's the thing you would end up doing with a customer, move them to a messaging channel. It's asynchronous by nature. They can go on, do something else, and get back to whatever they were doing. With the power of software, we don't need to have hold anymore. It should not exist. We can control this by designing software that focuses on these customers. So there's one other thing, too, I want to talk about, is we can't continue to treat our customers like database entries. There are many businesses that have forgotten that, and what we're observing today is that the best businesses are treating those customers like people, because business is really just a human experience at the end of the day. Luxury brands have sort of caught on to this for a while, right? Luxury brands have always talked about personalizing their experiences for their end customers. But treating your customers to a personalized experience, treating them like humans, which we all get a personalized experience, it shouldn't be a luxury anymore, right? It's just common courtesy, right? Knowing who you are when you call, that's common courtesy. It's not a luxury. And so, what we've been seeing more and more from our customers is folks personalizing these experiences, using the power of software to dynamically connect you with the right person at the right time with the right information. So why are we doing this? I just rattled off a whole bunch of examples of where businesses aren't treating people like humans. But why are we doing this? I mean, surely nobody wakes up in the morning thinking about like, hey, I want to be completely inhuman to my customers, right? Surely nobody's doing that, right? The reason that we do this is there's a belief that you can't scale human communications, right? That you can't be both human and serve a wide customer base at the exact same time. But that's no longer the case, right? The same technology that created a lot of this inhumanity for us, it now is actually enabling us to build these more human experiences. It's on the verge of helping us fix this and scale this. There are a bunch of things that are happening that are making this possible. You've all probably been seeing it in the news lately, but there's been advances in things like NLU and NLP. And artificial intelligence now has the ability to help us better understand what our customers are saying, where they need to be directed to, what they're upset about, what they're happy with, right? And intelligence agents are doing the same thing, right? We talk to Siri, and we talk to M, and we talk to Alexa now in human language, right? So technology is now enabling us to scale human-type communications. And businesses need to adopt this technology to improve their customer experience. The other thing that we're seeing is also a whole class of new services that are helping us scale our human touch, right? So this is things like chat now in apps. Twilio offers chat APIs. You see this with Google, where you're able to collaborate on a document, right? So we now have chat in all of our apps, many, many more apps. The other thing we have that's been happening is we now have apps in our chat. So things like Facebook Messenger, things like WeChat, we're now actually having app experiences in our chat as well. And all of these new channels are new ways that we can interact with our customers, right? And being human means interacting with them in the channel that they want. If someone wants to contact you in Messenger, you need to be able to support that as a business. Just like if a friend contacts you at Messenger, you're going to answer that and reply. And finally, and this is sort of the trend that's been going on, is bots. So everyone out there has been talking about bots, but really what bots are is just taking these artificial intelligence, taking these programmable communications, merging them together, and creating a single customer interaction point. So it's not bots per se, it's about creating great customer experiences. It's about, at the end of the day, having conversations with your customers, right? So sometimes conversations means facilitating two humans talking to one another. If it's a Uber driver or a passenger, it's facilitating that interaction. Sometimes it's talking with an artificial agent, right? But it's really about having these conversations. And conversations anymore are not sort of the same customer support experiences that we know of from the past, right? So anytime you have an interaction with your customer, it's an opportunity for you to have a conversation. So I showed this example from Amazon. It's a shipping notification. I ordered a package. We get these type of notifications every day, all day. But one of the things that happens with these notifications is that many folks don't see them as conversations. They're just a notification, right? It's just a shipping alert. And really, every notification is just the beginning of a conversation, right? What happens when you reply? You get a shipping notification, you go, oh, no, I actually am not going to be home. Can you delay that shipping? Or I didn't mean to order that. All of these replies to these notifications, they go nowhere, right? They're one way. They aren't conversations that businesses are having with us. They're just alerts. And so what we are really encouraging folks at Twilio to do is have a conversation. Be able to enable your customers to talk back to you. If any of your friends sent you a text message and then didn't listen to any of the replies, we'd be fed up with it. It's not human communications. So all you need to do is just hit reply. So just to summarize again, the different principles we have of human communication, it's use their channel, right? Choose from your customers the channel that makes most sense for them. Allow them to communicate with you in that channel. Don't force a channel on your customers, right? And use the one that's appropriate. Some types of interactions, it makes sense to call your customer. Some types of interactions, it does not. Calls can be intrusive. It's synchronous communication. Some things can be done over async. So use the right channel for the right problem when you're talking to your customers. Use context. Don't ask your customer to re-enter the same information again and again and again. Use human speak. Use human language. Apologize when there's an error. Be a human as a business, right? Have the type of interactions with your customers that they deserve. And this is what we're seeing from our customers today, right? We're seeing human communications transforming all of the applications and services that we have today, right? Whether it's the restaurant reservation system that now listens to you when you say you're running 15 minutes late, whether it's the host with the spare bedroom that tells you where the keys are, right? Whether it's experiences that allow you to connect with customers in ways that you've not in the past. Nordstrom is a retailer in the United States where they actually allow you to connect directly with a personal shopper. So anytime you see something out and about, you can send a picture, send that message to your personal shopper, and they can find liked items in the store on your behalf. That's what human communications are all about. The world of the future will be one in which software makes our communications better, not just cheaper, right? So consider again that airline example I mentioned earlier. So what would this look like if we really had chosen the correct channel, we had context as part of that experience? And this is all things that are possible today with Twilio, right? So you'd be in the same airline app, you would go ahead and say, I want to talk to an agent, and within the app, you would connect to an agent, right? You see your boarding card, the one that you were looking at that you wanted to discuss with. As soon as the agent connected, you'd know immediately you're talking to Karen. Karen would know immediately that she's talking to me. And we would embed the communications as part of that application experience. I'd let Karen know, hey, I was supposed to be on a flight heading to Las Vegas. My work travel changed, and I'm going to need to hop on a flight later on in the week. Karen can look up the flights for me, figure out which one is the most relevant, and then suggest some options. She finds a flight later on in the day, and she says, Patrick, take a look. I'm pushing a new boarding card your way. Does this flight meet your requirements? It's going to be Friday instead of on May 8th instead of on Saturday you were traveling before. And if this works for you, just press confirm, right? Press confirm. I use Touch ID to verify my identity. I don't need to call on the phone and tell them my mom's dog's maiden name just so they validate that I am who I am. I can just do it with my thumbprint here because the communication experience is all embedded in the app, right? It has context. It's using the channel that makes the most sense. I'm using the screen to look at the boarding cards, and so audio is a great secondary channel that I can use as part of this experience. And this is all possible today. And companies are building these type of experiences. And the companies that build these experiences are the companies that are going to win in the long run. So this is the way we see the world going. This is how you have human communications with your customers and enable some of the best customer experiences on the planet. So in closing, Twilio, as I mentioned, is a cloud communications platform provider. We're powering many of these interactive experiences that customers and startups around the world are building today. If you need to connect with your customers, if you want to have one of these experiences and improve the relationship you have with your customers and talk to them as humans, we really encourage you to take a look at Twilio, try it out, and we can't wait to see what sort of applications you can build.